Bethesda is bad. Wait, no, let me rephrase that. Bethesda is good. Wait, no, let me rephrase that. Bethesda is... Alright, look. I know I'm not the first to make a video on how bad Starfield was and why, but if I'm being honest, I think there was really only one main thing that caused Starfield to be received as negatively as it was. Because sure, we can sit here and talk about how bad the facial animations are, how boring the story is, or how mid the combat is, but if you've ever played Skyrim or Fallout 4, then this isn't new to you when it comes to Bethesda. Let's be honest, the real thing that killed Starfield was mods. Wait, what? Okay, so no. Technically, mods did not kill this game. That's what we call a bait and switch. What actually killed this game in a more literal sense was the exploration. Or I suppose, lack thereof. You see, love or hate Bethesda, I think most would admit that they usually try a bit more than other studios when it comes to fleshing out and creating their open world. Now you don't have to say that it's all good, but it's clear that there was effort made there. That's why you can have videos that are multiple hours long dedicated to talking about the secrets in just one area of Skyrim, or in-depth stories from Fallout 4 that can only be experienced through exploring the map. But Starfield, well, apparently the game where you can travel across multiple star systems, have magic ancient space powers, and the ending where you... That's the game they wanted to be realistic with the exploration. And by realistic, I mean... When asked about why the exploration was the way it was, Bethesda said, quote, "When the astronauts went to the moon, there was nothing there. They certainly weren't bored." Now many people think this quote is outrageous and everyone loves to focus on it. However, I see this quote in a much different light. You remember like a minute ago when I said that mods killed this game and then I didn't elaborate on it? Well, that's because I was distracting you from disliking the video for saying something like that by going for the easy rag on Bethesda route. Just like how Bethesda distracts you from their real plan by saying that playing their game is the equivalent of going to the moon in real life. Wait, what's the real plan? I hear you asking. And if you weren't asking that, good for you, you're different. To talk about what I think Bethesda's true plan for Starfield was, and why the game was doomed to fail from the start, we have to go back, all the way back. 1958. Physicist William Higginbotham had just created the very first video game, Tennis for Two. Now this would then lead us into I'm just messing with you guys. 2022, Starfield had been announced, and everyone was skeptical of Bethesda's next big game. Todd got up on stage. He showed off some of the gameplay, and ended by saying we'll have over 1,000 planets to explore. And everyone freaked out. Some were overjoyed and already gave it Game of the Year, but most of the freaking out came from a place of cynicism. People were getting PTSD flashbacks to No Man's Sky. We had learned our lesson, bigger does not always mean better. And this was the trailer where I knew that Starfield was going to be bad. Because yes, mods actually did kill Starfield. Alright, so what do I mean by that? Well, if you've ever modded a game, then statistically speaking, it was either for Fallout 4 or Skyrim. Or maybe Skyrim. There are hundreds of thousands of different mods out there that have kept these two games alive for so long. And some of the most popular mods, that I can show on YouTube, are the ones that create entirely new quests. And Bethesda isn't blind, they know how big their modding scene is. So what if, I don't know, let's just say they help their modders out by giving them more room to work with, maybe like, I don't know, the size of a planet? You know, just so they don't have a lot of mods conflicting with each other, it's probably safer to make like, I don't know, like 999 other barren planets that they can mod on. I don't think it's a coincidence that right around the same time Starfield launched, Bethesda was trying out paid mods for Skyrim. I don't think it's a coincidence that they released a video showing off a bunch of modders coming into their studio. Now look, whether or not mods should be something we have to pay for is a whole separate video on its own, and I'm not going to argue that here. The only thing I will say is that I don't think it's fair for people to have to pay for mods when the game seems like it was released unfinished just so that modders can finish the game for them. All while Bethesda takes a nice cut of the profits. I'll admit, on paper, it's actually a great business strategy. It just won't actually work because, well, people don't care about Starfield anymore. It took almost a year for any sort of vehicle to be added, and the DLC took even longer. But Bethesda made sure we had paid mods ASAP. Everyone has a limit with this kind of stuff. At a certain point, people realize when they're being taken advantage of. Even some of the hardcore Bethesda fans are starting to get annoyed at this point. And obviously, I'm not blaming modders for making Bethesda games better. We've gotten some amazing projects to come out because of modders. I'm mad at Bethesda for taking advantage of the modders and fan base, thinking that they could make an easy buck off of all of this. And of course, they haven't actually stated that this was their plan from the start with Starfield. So yes, this is all speculation and theory and my opinion. But man, it sure seems that way, doesn't it? So I guess the last question is, can Starfield still succeed? Realistically, probably not. I don't think Bethesda is going to put in the work to make all the empty planets more fun to explore. The loading screens certainly aren't going anywhere despite the game needing to run on an SSD, and they still seem to be pushing paid mods. But I suppose if they were to make 1 or 2 planets with the more in-depth touch and visual storytelling they've done in the past, maybe there's a reason to try out the game again, although we all know how the DLC was received. For those who are subscribed, I know it's been a while since I've last posted something. I always felt like I needed something big to come back with to justify a long absence, but at the same time that just kept pressuring me. It made me feel like anything I would make wasn't up to the standards people would have. Why am I telling you all this? Because when I replayed Starfield, it reminded me of that quote, "Better to try and fail than never have tried at all." To me, it just felt like Bethesda had given up on trying, and ironically motivated me to get back into making videos. To make something that I enjoyed. At least I can look back and be proud that I tried. Bethesda, can you truly say the same thing?